Hey guys, I hope you all are doing well tonight. I just kind of wanted to come on. There's a few things that I've been thinking about, and I wanted to see if you all are seeing these things too. I think it's really important to kind of be aware of things and to kind of open these conversations to other people just to kind of see the trends, see what's going on. And I think that that can kind of help us to determine maybe what our next steps need to be, what we need to be doing as far as preparation, as far as protection, that type of stuff. But I just wanted to share with you guys, we all know that food prices are through the roof. We all know that they're nothing close to the 3 or 4% that they talk about in the news. You know, those inflation rates are based on airline tickets. They're based on rental cars. They're not based on anything that you and I are consuming on an everyday time period. Like, for instance, your housing, your rent, your mortgage, it's not included in that. Your food prices are not included in that. Your gas prices are not included in that. So the three things that basically all Americans need and that they consume are not included in that 3 and 4% number. Because if they were, the number would be much closer to, I think, over 100%. I know that I've seen the majority of items in the supermarket that I buy or used to buy go up at least double in price. And so, man, I feel like I'm seeing more and more people struggling. I feel like I'm seeing more and more people just losing their minds, right? Buying food week after week and struggling to keep that food in their house for as long as they can, because they know that next week when they go back to the supermarket, the prices are just going to be increased that much further. And of course, their wages are not increasing with inflation. And so it's very hard for people to keep up. You bring home these groceries and it's like a free-for-all for kids. They just don't understand it. Even my kids, and I feel like I'm very open with them. I like to have those conversations and let them know, hey, this is going on in the world. This is what people are experiencing. What do you think about that? Maybe we shouldn't be consuming a bag of whatever in one sitting. Let's kind of spread it out so we can enjoy that, over time or whatnot. But I mean, most people who are just buying the basics at the grocery store, you come home and the kids just, it's like, oh, a box of granola bars, that's gone in, maybe a day or two. A bag of chips, that's gone in a day. So they have to keep replacing these things at higher and higher prices. And I actually had a conversation with a woman, and she had said that she was spending $100 a week in food. And I said, wow. I said, how are you doing that? Because, I mean, I spend, when I go just to buy junk food, it's over $100. And I'm not buying meat. I'm literally buying like potato chips, maybe some apples, some oranges, maybe some peanut butter, some soy sauce, just things that I'm not producing here that I just kind of want to keep stocked up on. And she said, well, I just try to be as frugal as I can. And, she tells her kids it's okay to be hungry sometimes, and this is in America. It's just crazy, to hear that they're going without, and it's actually very heartbreaking because, it's just really, really sad. But, prices are bad here. But if you've seen prices in other parts of the world, like for instance in New Zealand, a watermelon is close to $50. In Canada, like your Kraft boxed macaroni and cheese, they call it something different, but that's $2.50 a box. I mean, remember when that used to be like 50 cents a box here? Well, over there it's like $2.50 a box. And then in Australia, like their celery is $1.99 a stalk. Okay, here it's 99 cents. Their English cucumbers are $1.99. Ours are 99 cents here. So they're like, 100% over ours or double the price. But then like if you look at their chicken, so in Canada, the boneless, skinless chicken is $8 a pound. And in Australia, the boneless, skinless chicken is $12 a pound. Here, I can get it at Aldi for $2.29 a pound, and I'm assuming, that that's going to vary, by region that you're in within the United States. But it's just, oh gosh, it's crazy to think of those higher prices in these other countries. And I think, what happens when that comes here? You know, these prices of food are still going up at an alarming rate. You know, even though inflation is coming down, you know, which tells us that the prices of certain goods are not going up as quickly, food's not included in those numbers. So food is just, man, every time you go, it's another 5 cents, another 10 cents, another quarter on each item that you're buying. And how much can you, I mean, how much more can you take of that? You know, I mean, can your budget afford another $100 every week? Probably not. Food is so expensive. It's quickly becoming one of the most expensive things, you know, in the American budget. I mean, besides a home, you know, mortgage payment, if you just, you know, bought or refinanced with these super high interest rates. But, you know, I worry about what's going to happen to society when those prices from other countries actually do come over here. You know, in Germany, when they were experiencing hyperinflation, there was actually a big uprising with the people when beer jumped in price. It just goes to show you that there can be such a change in people's morale and people's attitudes and people's aggression over a small change when they've been, you know, when things have been changing again and again and again and again and again. And then, you know, they hit that point, you know, it's like the straw that broke the camel's back, right? It's just like, okay, here's another dollar we're adding to your beer, you know, your beer prices, and boom, you know, people revolt. And I just wonder when that breaking point is coming here. But it's interesting, if you look back in history and you want to look at Germany and you want to look at hyperinflation, you know, we're nowhere near that yet. You know, we're just at the point where people are starting to, you know, kind of heavy breathe a little bit and get a bit worried and can't pay this bill. Well, let's put this one off till next month. But if you look back at Germany during hyperinflation, if you want to know the people who did the best during that, it wasn't your doctor, it wasn't your stock market broker, it wasn't your banker, it wasn't the electrician, it wasn't the plumber, it was the farmer. The farmer was the one who made it out the best in that economy. He was growing his own food, he had his equipment, and he could set the prices for those food with inflation, right? So he could raise his prices. You know, if everything was going up 10%, he could raise the price of his potatoes 10%, or he could raise the price of his lettuce 10%. And so the farmers are who really succeeded in that type of a situation. And they were actually able to pay off a lot of their debts, pay off their farmland, pay off their mortgages, and they made it out, you know, in some cases better than when it started. And I just kind of found that fascinating. The other day, I was in Macy's. Okay, my son had been bugging me to go to Macy's, and we actually went to one of the larger cities that were near. It was, you know, a little over an hour away, and man, I'm so glad I don't live in the city. It was just crazy. I mean, the traffic, the people, the home developments that you saw coming into the city, it just was so packed in there. Anyway, so he was bugging me to go to Macy's. So I brought him to Macy's while a couple of my family members took my little girls and some of our cousins to a salon that another one of my cousins owns. And so they were able to get a few little fun things like little fairy hair done or whatever. And that was really sweet for them to do that, because my kids don't get that opportunity a lot. I try not to do that excess spending or those things that we don't need. You know, if I'm going to spend money, it's going to be, you know, on some necessities, right? Like Band-Aids or toothbrushes and toothpaste. Yeah, I really kind of focus on that, and I don't really go for those luxury or leisure items because it's just really hard for me, especially in this economy, to say, you know, sure, I'll go ahead and spend that $50. But anyway, so my kids really enjoyed that. But while the girls were there, I took Vinny into Macy's. He really wanted a suit for Christmas. And so I figured, you know, with Black Friday pricing and everything, I would just kind of see, you know, what they had. And so we went in there, you know, they were really nice. They got him fitted and stuff. And you know, they didn't exactly have the size in both the pants and jacket that he wanted. So anyways, my little guy was like, hey, Mama, I want to go look at, you know, the kids section. So we went over there, and I kid you not, there was one rack of jackets for $19.99. Okay, and that was fine. But then every other rack of clothing, I mean, whether it was $25 or $40 or $50 per item, it was chained up. Every item had one of those, plastic coated cable, things with a lock on it. So you couldn't even try it on, you couldn't walk over to a mirror. And so we started going through the store, and it was like everything was like that. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, how far has our society fallen that we now have to chain up everything in a department store? And I mean, Macy's, don't get me wrong, Macy's has some nice stuff, but this is not like Nordstrom or Burberry, I mean, heck, Macy's isn't even Dillard's. They're just on a slightly different level than Dillard's. Dillard's a little more upscale. But when you have that lower level department store doing this, it just, man, I mean, how close is society to losing it? How close are they to just really losing their mind? I told Nate, that I ran out of something and I really needed to go to the store. And he says, oh, just run down to Walmart. And I said, babe, like, it's nighttime. It's dark outside. I don't think I'm going to go, And it's not really something that we ever really thought about before. But man, I don't like to go out after dark. It's just really, really crazy. The last time I did, I had Vincent with me, and he's taller than me. He's stronger than me now. So I feel like that's something, right? And then, you always make sure that you're prepared when you go out. And as we left the store, we went in when it was like dusk. And when we left the store, it was dark. And we came out, and Vinny was talking to me. And I said, honey, don't talk to me. And he said, why? And I said, because I'm looking at people right now. And he said, what do you mean? I said, I'm looking at people. I'm making sure that I'm seeing who's out here, if anybody's following us, and if I'm suspicious of somebody, I'm making sure that I make good eye contact with them. I mean, if you're that person and I feel like you're looking at me and I'm feeling a little odd about it, I'm going to just stare you down because I want you to know that I'm seeing you. Okay. I'm seeing you and, I'm prepared. So anyways, so for you ladies out there, I think that's very important. If you don't have to go out after dark, don't go out after dark. The times that we are living in just kind of blows my mind. It was never like this. When we were kids, we never locked our doors at our house. There was no need for a hidden key because you always knew the front door was open and you never had a break-in or anything. And now, gosh, you just don't know. And as things get worse and worse and worse, people are just going to resort to more and more desperate measures. So anyways, I do think it's very interesting that the farmers in Germany were the ones who made it. I think that, that is a good indication of what we need to be doing right now. Not only can you provide your own food, but if you have everything at your house, right, and you're preparing, then you don't need to go out. You won't need to go out when the stores are getting crazy or when there's a rush on something or, when the next big announcement comes, from the government that everybody's up in arms over. You can just kind of hunker down at home and know, hey, look, I've got an extra loaf of bread. I've got those bandages that I need. I've got that, ibuprofen in case somebody gets a sore throat or something like that. So I think it's important to start thinking about this stuff. And I'd like to know if y'all are seeing this, if you guys are kind of feeling a little iffy going out at night. If Nate's with me, a little bit of a different story. He's a big guy. I don't know that someone would want to take him on. But if they did, that would be very, very scary. So, we just hope and we pray that the Lord's going to protect us. But I think we also have to be very wise about it. But anyways, guys, just a few thoughts on my mind tonight. I hope that you guys are aware when you're out. I hope y'all are thinking about this and maybe trying to make sure that you've got more of those things that you need at home so you don't have to run out at nighttime, so that you're not having to run out last minute, making sure that you're aware of your surroundings so that you do not become a victim or a target. But yeah, just some things to think about, guys. I hope you all have a wonderful night, and I hope you all stay safe during this holiday season.